I tried to make a video about this earlier, and I wasn't really happy with the level of video that I made. Um, I sort of pride myself on my transparency. And in that first original video, I felt like I wasn't being very transparent. And this video today is about me deciding to no longer pursue kidney transplant via transplant list. I got put on hold on both transplant lists that I was on for San Francisco and UC Davis. For those of you who don't know, I live in the Bay Area. I live in California. And they put me on hold. And after like much consideration, I just decided that I'm done. Like, I need a break from this because I can't keep taking myself through this emotionally, the ups and downs and jumping through all of these hoops. So, and we're going to focus on UC Davis here. Okay. So UC Davis just recently put me on hold on the transplant list, which means, well, when somebody puts you on hold, that means that you are ineligible to be offered a kidney. You're still on the list accumulating time, but you are not going to be able, they're not going to be able to offer any kidneys to you. But so for me, it's just, well, okay, me being on the list and just accumulating time doesn't really mean anything if I'm not active on the list to get kidneys. So it doesn't mean anything to me. And I'm sure there'll be several people that'll disagree. Well, you should just be happy that you're on the list accumulating time and blah, 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 blah. But if you can't get a kidney, what's the point? Right? Okay. So that being said, there were 4 factors that UC Davis gave me for why they put me on hold on the transplant list. One, they said that I was overweight and that my fitness level was not high enough to their standards. 2, they needed a CT scan. Now, take a mental note of that because that'll be important later. 3, they needed a echocardiogram, another one, for infusion around my heart. So what that means is that at some point they found in an x-ray or a CT scan, they found fluid buildup around my heart. So what they want to do is they want to go in, they want to check it out to make sure that it's not an issue. Even though, okay, I'll get to that. And 4, they recommended, because I speak to a therapist regularly, I highly recommend that if you are having issues dealing with things, you should seek help. I 100% believe that. I do not believe in the archaic way of just walking it off, or real men don't do this, or real men don't do that. It's all BS. If there is something in your life that you can't handle, that you feel like you can't handle, and there's been several times before where I've been in that same exact situation where I looked inward and I realized that I cannot deal with this on my own. I'm trying and it's not working. So I got out and I sought help. But the 4th reason UC Davis put me on hold on the list is because they feel like I still need to speak to my therapist, which I do every week and I've been doing for years, but I don't really see why that would be an issue. And my interpretation of the last one was because I have a bad attitude. Very similar to how I make videos about how much I hate this. I also pride myself on being very honest with the transplant coordinators and my doctors, my nurses, my technicians, everyone, about what this experience is actually like and what I'm going through and how I feel about this. Well, come to find out, transplant coordinators don't really want you to do that. What they want you to do is they want you to just put on a happy face and they want you to lie about their experiences. That's what they want you to do. They don't want to have a real world account of what this is really like. They just want gumdrops and rainbows. They want everything to be fine. And they want you to just agree that this is the greatest thing that ever happened to you. And that's it. That's their lot. My transplant coordinator for UC Davis told me that the only thing that she cares about is the numbers on this screen. They don't care about how you feel. They don't care about what you're going through. at home. They don't care about what you're going through emotionally during this. They don't care about how hard it is. They just want you to adhere to whatever they say, no matter how painstaking it is to you, or how much, uh, it complicates your life to do so. And they also don't care about how much energy you have, considering you're a dialysis patient. And from my understanding, most dialysis patients don't really have that much energy. I can attest to this. But let's go back to reason. Let's go back to reason number 4, the weight, right? So my coordinator told me that I needed to lose 5 to 10 pounds. And evidently there's this exercise routine. There's this there's this exercise routine that they need you to follow, that they need you to do in order for you to be able to pass, in order to be able to get a kidney. Now, I don't know exactly when they subject you to this exercise routine, or what it all entails, but what I did get from talking to the lady is that there's a sit up, there's a stand up and sit down exercise that you have to do, which is great if you have like knee problems or lower back problems, which I do have. It's very difficult. And you need to be able to do X amount of those in 30 seconds. So for a man, I think you needed to be able to do 14 to 15. For women, you got to do like 10 to 12. So as a man, you're already behind the 8 ball. So whatever the women do, you have to do like, X amount of more. 3, 4, 5 more, right? There is also, they also recommended that I walk for 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. For 3 to 4 times, or 3 to 4 times a week. Okay. And there is a bunch of other exercises that they need me to do, which, okay, I am deciding to not do that. Okay, so all of this goes into like the issue that I'm having here with why I want to stop. So there's that, the exercise routine, the weight loss, the CT scan, which I did, and I tried everything in my power to get the CT done locally, but because they just decided that I wasn't a priority and they just blew me off, I had to drive to Sacramento in order to get a 15-minute procedure done and then drive all the way back. So it's about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. Because I'll F them. It was just F them. We're not going to respond to his emails. We're not going to call him back. We're not going to try to make this as convenient for him as possible. No, we're just going to have him just come down here because we don't care. With the CT scan, though, and this is important, when I was speaking to the transplant coordinator at UC Davis, she had me under the impression that that was all I needed. She told me that she was going to keep me active on the list, and all I needed was a CT scan. There was no mention of anything else. So I leave, it's disappointing that she's telling me that I'm just like clearly not good enough for their transplant list. Like she's telling me, well, you're clearly not good enough for your transplant list. So, but I'm just going to leave you on the list until we get this CT scan to find out what was going on. Now, the CT scan was for a nodule that they found in my lung. Now, they put me on, they were kind of sketchy about it because they thought it was cancerous. Now, I've had this nodule for nearly 4 years now, and it hasn't been an issue. If it was cancerous, it would have already been like full blown by the time I spoke to this lady. If it was cancerous, my oncologist that I see like every 3 months would have caught it, would have seen it. It wouldn't have been an issue. But for them, they needed to know. They needed to see it themselves. They couldn't just take her word for it. Like an oncologist who's been doing this for like 15 years, who treated me when I had HLH, who knows cancer pretty well, considering she dedicated her professional life to it. But They needed to know. So they were like, okay, we're not gonna, we need this. We just desperately need the CT scan. I get the CT scan, and then I get a letter the day before the CT scan telling me that they're gonna put me on hold. Right? This was right after I had the discussion with the transplant coordinator, right after she went to talk to the committee. Now, I pride myself on being very honest with people, especially with my experience with kidney disease and the transplant. And I was very honest, very similar to how I am on this channel, very similar to how I am with everybody. And people don't necessarily appreciate your honesty, and they get very angry about your candor when it comes to what this experience is really like. It ain't all sunshine and rainbows. As a matter of fact, it's not all sunshine and rainbows at all. This is not a fun experience. I'm not having a good time. This is not fun for me. Maybe it's a joyride for other people, and maybe they love it, and maybe this is the greatest thing that ever happened to them, but not me. Like, the whole reason why I'm doing dialysis is so I could get off of dialysis. Like, that was always my goal, was to get off dialysis as fast as possible. And then, you start interacting with transplant centers and coordinators, and it's like pulling teeth for these people. Now, let's touch on San Francisco, for example. Let's touch on San Francisco. Okay. They told me that all I needed was, they put me on hold too. They told me that all I needed was a CT scan. Now, when I called them back and spoke to them, I specifically asked them, listen, is there anything else that you need me to do in order for me to be active on your list? Is there an exercise routine? Is there this test or that test and all of this crap? Is there anything else that you need me to do that will prevent me from moving forward on your list? Now, this lady told me no. The coordinator of San Francisco said no. Okay, now I'm going to take her word for it, even though at this point in the game, I am extremely distrusting of transplant centers and coordinators. Now, what I think that, touching back on UC Davis here, and I'm jumping around a lot, but touching back on UC Davis here, I don't think that any of that medical stuff is the reason why they put me on hold on the list. I believe, and I believe this with every fiber of my being, that the reason why they put me on hold on that transplant list at UC Davis was because, according to her, I have a bad attitude. Because I am not going to tell them what they want to hear. And that I am not going to try to make this out to be this great thing, because it's not. And come to find out, transplant coordinators don't even work with patients. So how would they even know? They see a 5-minute verdict. This lady spent 5 minutes, the length it takes to drink a cup of coffee with me, and she came to the determination that I am not a good candidate. Right? Now, they want you to lose weight because of the procedure. Oh, well, we don't think that we want you as healthy as possible. Listen, lady, I'm not going to get any healthier than I am right now. I am the healthiest I've been in 4 years. This is the healthiest I've ever been. The issue is, she's like, oh, well, we want to make sure there's a healing issue. If this lady spent more than 5 minutes talking to me, she knows that I heal way faster than projected times for any of these procedures that I go through. I'm freaking a low rent Wolverine out here. Any projected amount of time they tell me that is expected to heal, I heal way faster than that because I take care of myself. Now, my labs are excellent. I've proven that on this channel. My labs are good. I'm not obese. My heart is strong. It's pumping all the blood it needs to all the extremities. I'm good right now. At this stage, I'm good right now. And they're going to try to hold me in purgatory for the next 5 years. In the next 5 years, I'm going to be a lot weaker than I am now, which gives them another reason to disqualify me. But what this really comes down to is they're telling me that my attitude is bad. And that evidently you have to be evidently it has to be Disneyland every day for you with dialysis in order for them to give you a kidney, because people with bad attitudes don't have a drive to live. If you have a bad attitude and you hate dialysis, then, the kidney's going to go bad because emotional BS and all that other crap that they tell you. We want people with good attitudes to have kidneys. When I expressed to her that the only thing that's making me unhappy in my life is this, dialysis. It's the only thing that's making me unhappy. This is the only thing that I'm not happy with. If I could just get from underneath this, things will change for me. Contrary to these videos, I'm not a miserable guy. I'm not just walking around unhappy all the time. If you think about it, all of my misery from these videos comes from this. And I don't think that I should have to turn this around and turn this into a positive and every cloud has a silver lining for me to just do it. I just do it. I just do it, and I do it to the best of my abilities. And I do it to a point where I'm getting results. I'm doing everything they're telling me to do exactly the way they want me to do it. But it's never enough. It's just never enough. And I don't know how many of you out there who are watching this video right now have ever had an echocardiogram, but it's not fun. It's not fun. It really isn't. They take a camera and they shove it either through your groin or through your arm all the way up to your heart cavity. And then they look through with a camera. And I guess they're probably going to try to take a couple samples. I'm not sure, but I've had it done before. And it's not fun. It really isn't. And whether or not the anesthesia works or not, it can also be very painful. And you feel everything in your semi-conscious. So all of that have led to this conclusion that I've come to, that I need to take a break. I need to take a break. I'm tired of fighting these transplant coordinators. I don't want to lie, but it feels as though I'm going to have to start lying about how I feel about this. I'm going to have to do a complete 180 for them. Now, for my physicians, yeah, I can tell them the truth about this, but for the coordinators, they don't want the truth. They don't want you to tell the truth. They don't want you to be a human being because they're not human beings. At the end of the day, they clock out and they go home to their 3.5. Their big houses, bank accounts full of money, and their fancy cars, and they don't care about you. You, as a dialysis patient, are just a number on a screen to them in their computer. They don't know you from Adam, from a hole in the ground. They could care less about what you're going through. And I'm going to put this out there, and I'm not going to elaborate any further, but sometimes, me being a minority and me being an African American, hey, maybe we could just push him off to the side to give kidneys to the people that we want to give kidneys to, but people who don't look like him. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that. So I'm not going to elaborate any further. But there is a huge discrepancy amongst minorities getting kidneys and whites getting kidneys. I'll say that. But going back, they claim that they're doing all of this because of my survival rate. Now, that's something that they do chart for people. Like, the older you are, the lower your survival rate is, right? And depending on the condition that you're in, the lower your survival rate. I'm 37 years old. I'll be 38 in November. I'm 37 years old right now. I am in the best shape I've been since I got sick in 2018 with HLH. This is the best that I've been. Now, they want me to lose 5 or 10 pounds. Now, when they weighed me, when I first got evaluated at UC Davis, I was like 99 kilos. Okay, that was me sick. I am 108.5 kilos now. I'm actually at my normal walking around weight. That was the weight I was before I got sick. So I'm actually healthier now than I was then. But they want me to get back down to that weight, which is gonna be impossible for me to do. Like, I'm not even gonna try. Am I gonna change my diet around? Yes, just for my overall health, but I'm not gonna kill myself trying to get down to their unrealistic standards. So I have decided to take a break. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to focus on doing the things that I enjoy doing. Now, I did martial arts for a long time, and that was sort of what kept me from sliding all the way down the hill, and I believe that. The fitness level that I attained from that, I don't want to say prepared me for this because then that sounds like some clandestine BS, and that's not what I'm on. Right? But me being healthy from that allowed me to get through this. Right? And I want to start exercising again, but I'm having an energy issue. I don't care what any dialysis patient says. Energy is always an issue. You are not brimming with energy like you were before you got sick. It's not going to happen. It's just not possible. And you're going to see people that'll get on this, get in these videos. They're going to get in front of this camera. They're going to tell you that they're better now than they've ever been. And that is not true. You're not. Your kidneys don't work. Toxins are slowly building up your body. You're not better than you were before. I know I'm not. And if anybody else is being honest, they'll tell you that they're not either. Right? So, right now I'm on hold. And I contacted the kidney transplant coordinator. And I let her know, listen, just keep me inactive on the transplant list because I am no longer pursuing kidney transplant via kidney transplant list at this time. So, all that being said, what am I going to do? The only thing that I can do now is look for a donor. That is the only thing that will get me out of this situation is a donor. I no longer want to be a slave to transplant coordinators in the transplant list. And even if I was on a transplant list, estimated time, 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years, maybe even longer, right? Like, the system is broken. If it takes 5 years to get one human being a kidney, the system is clearly not working. And I believe that. Right? As many people as they help, there are just as many people not getting help. 12 people die every day waiting for kidneys on a kidney transplant list. And California is one of the worst places to be on a kidney transplant list. And that's where I am. And people are going to, why can't you just pack up and move? Okay, yeah, that's first world problems. I don't have the funds to just pack up and just move to another state, wait 2 years, get a kidney, then come back. I don't have the funds for that. A lot of people don't have the funds for that. Those are first world problems, and I do not have the money to do that. Okay? Unless it's covered by insurance, I'm not going anywhere. So I have to wait. I have to use these transplant centers that are at my disposal. But I don't have to be on their transplant list. Then if that's something that if that is also something that you feel like you want to explore too, you don't have to be on their transplant list. You can get on when they put you on hold because they will. Right? If you don't follow their parameters and if you don't follow a certain demographic, they can't wait to put you on hold and just leave you in purgatory forever. Right? So if that's something that you are no longer interested in pursuing, it's okay to stop. It's okay to say, you know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing this for now. I'll get back to you what I told her. I'll get back to you when I'm ready to start again. But currently, I am not ready to take myself through this. It was devastating when they told me that I was put on hold on the transplant list, both of them, because I was under the impression from what my physicians were telling me and what my nurses were telling me and what my labs were telling me that I was good and that I was on the road to getting a kidney sooner rather than later because they keep giving you this crap. Everything that I've done with dialysis has been to get closer to kidney transplant. I do dialysis at home because they said it looks good. I'm relatively young. I'm 37. There's nothing I could do about that, but I thought that was working with me. I thought that was working for me. I'm compliant. I take my medication. My labs are good. My phosphorus is good. My potassium is good. take care of myself, I eat right. I thought all of those things worked for me. And then I spend 5 minutes with this coordinator and she tells me that everything I'm doing doesn't mean anything. And then we're going to put you on hold. We don't care what you do. You need to do this. So I was devastated when I got the news. And I think that anybody else in my position probably would have felt the same way if they were thinking one thing and then something else was happening. I don't know if my honesty had anything to do with it. I believe that it did. Maybe I shouldn't have been so honest, but what else am I supposed to do? You know, I'm not a natural liar. I don't lie about things. But maybe I should have. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should have walked in there with a smile on my face, with some Mickey Mouse ears, thinking this is the greatest place on earth and that everything's fine. And these coordinators care about us and they want to see us succeed and they want us to get a kidney and all this stuff. And maybe I should have done that. Because you have some people that live in la la land, they live in fantasy land where everything works out just because they want it to. And nothing is ever as really bad as they think it is, and everybody should just look on the bright side. Okay, I'm mad enough to admit maybe I was wrong. But I know moving forward, that's a mistake that I will not make again. So for now, I am done. At least for the rest of the year. I don't know. I may change my mind. I may not. But I am not looking forward to more procedures and more of this and more of that. And it's like as soon as you push that boulder up a hill, there's a mountain on the other side. And that's sort of been like the theme of how this has been going. Right? And if more patients were being honest, they would probably feel the same way. Every time you reach this one hurdle, there's another hurdle. And the longer you're on dialysis, the weaker your body gets, because dialysis is not designed to make you feel better. It's designed to clean your blood. It's designed to keep you alive. That's all it does. It's not a miracle machine. It's designed, in its very design, it's designed to make you feel bad. Right? It cleans your blood, and in doing so, it makes you feel bad. That's what it does. So I don't have any illusions about this, right? Like my life has not been made better by this experience. If anything, this whole thing has hindered my progress a lot. As far as like my mental state, my fitness. Luckily, I am a guy who can occupy bad spaces for long periods of time. I mean, it affects me eventually, but this is sort of like the theme of how my life has went. And there's no amount of positive thinking that's going to change that. Bad stuff happens to people, certain people. More bad things happen to other people more than others. And it's not fair. It's not fair what happened to me. It's not fair what happens to other people who are in my position. It's not fair. And you work so hard and you try so hard and you fight and you claw and you scratch, and then to have somebody tell you that it's not good enough, and they smile when they tell you they smile and they're chipper when they have to tell you that they're taking you off the transplant list. Now, when they take you off the transplant list, it's not a permanent thing, but it's just a simple fact that every day you're not on the list, that's an opportunity that you're missing, a potential opportunity that you're missing to not get a kidney. But from my understanding, from talking to them, even if I was active, they're going to put at least 4 years on me. I'm 2 years in now, 2 years and X amount of months. From my understanding, they're going to put at least 4 years on me before they even entertain the idea of getting me a kidney. That's the impression that I got. Phrases along the lines of, well, you haven't accumulated enough time. Like, what does that mean? If I'm the best candidate, if I'm a good candidate, then the best kidney should go to the best people. It shouldn't be, we're going to just, you haven't had enough time. You haven't had enough years put on you. You haven't had enough pain and suffering put on you for you to deserve this. So I'm taking a break, and I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm not gonna stress out over this, because this is all I do, is stress out over this. And people try to tell you to be carefree, and people try to tell you not to worry about it, but how can't you when your life is on the line here? You don't die from dialysis, you die from complications from dialysis. And just because I'm me doesn't mean that I'm exempt from any of this stuff. This whole thing could drop off a cliff tomorrow, and it could get worse. And then I'm going to be ineligible for transplant at all, because I've waited so long, and I'm trying to make sure nothing happens to me between now and like whenever. Because that's when they tell me, like, oh, well, when can I expect anything? Oh, well, we don't know. We have estimated times, but we don't know for sure. And it kind of feels like they keep putting these roadblocks in your way if you're not going with the program. I'm not cussing anybody out. I'm not being insulting. I'm not being difficult to deal with. I'm not being non-compliant. I'm doing everything they're telling me to do. So why doesn't that work in my favor? I don't know. They can't tell me, So that's it. So for right now, I'm done. And remember, you don't have to do something that you don't want to do. Right? You don't have to do something that you don't want to do. So until next time.